Yeah, we're live, and it's we're live again. It's even before 7 o'clock. Hopefully, you guys are all doing well tonight. We're going to take I'm going to take an opportunity to thank all the viewers for all of the great things. Today, if you can see the thumbnail that I posted, I there's another addition to my list of vehicles that I own, and unlike some of the others, like the Nova and the Omni, for right now, this would actually run. So it's very cool. It's a Honda Trail 90, and I've wanted one for a long time. And thanks to Todd, aka I Ain't No Punk, in the live feed, you guys, I'm sure he'll be here tonight. You can thank him. We did some horse trading for some things, and so the Trail 90, I'll be able to use it to cruise around. I've already roared up and down the street and stuff in it, and it runs fantastic, like they usually do. Those are the kind of vehicles that I really like, because they things like that like last forever. Hondas, really, those are really hard to damage, and that thing, and it just runs perfect, and it's exactly the kind of thing that I need, and it's the right kind of thing. I mean, it's like a Chevy Sprint Turbo. It has that level of coolness to it. And so not only am I driving around, doing the things I need to do, go out and cruise around at night and do some night spotting on the sides of the roads for snakes and stuff, which is, that's kind of my jam. But I'm doing it in style, which is which is very important. I already showed my sons, and I've told them, look, I'm going to teach you guys how to ride these things. And my older son's excited about it. My younger son will learn how to do it too. It'll be very cool. And like I said, it's the right kind of thing. And you'll notice that the Trail 90, the image that I posted, the thumbnail, is parked next to the Nova. So tomorrow, the Nova is actually getting some work done. I'm going to take the wheels and tires off, and one of them is flat, so I'm going to take it in. It needs a new valve stem, so I'm going to do some work to get that thing prepped. Actually kind of prepped for transport. One thing I got to do is I got to crawl down inside of it. The key to the trunk is actually locked inside the trunk, and luckily for me, all the interior is disassembled, so I just need to move it out of the way and crawl back in there amongst all the rust and stuff, and get the key that were shut in there and open that thing up. But the plan is to take it down to West Tech, and I need to make sure I okay this with them. But my goal for April is to get that thing up and running, and I've already selected a small block for it that the guys from West Tech have. They have one that they use very little, and I offered to buy it from them. I might also, as an alternative, I'm definitely going to put a small block in it for right now, just to get it running. I can get it running and use the transmission, the 3-speed transmission that's in it. Chevrolet actually offered that with the lower power V8s. So you could use that 3-speed Saginaw trans with a V8, as long as you're not drag racing it, beating on it stuff. It'll actually work fairly well. My goal is to go down, and what I want to do before I bring the Nova down is go down and either get that motor that West Tech has. It's basically a small block. I think it was originally a tune port motor. So it's an aluminum headed L98 with a cam and a carburetor and a distributor and stuff on it. The other alternative that I might do is I might just go to the wrecking yard and get a Vortec 350, because I already own a Vortec dual plane aluminum intake manifold that I could put on there. I already have a carburetor for it, and then I would just need to get a distributor. And what I would do is, while I'm at the wrecking yard, I'll just get an HEI from a hydraulic roller small block Chevy and stick it in there. So I'm thinking about doing that. That way the aluminum headed deal could stay at West Tech. And I can buy the wrecking yard motor very cheap. I can get one that runs, maybe do a few things on it, but then when it's ready to go, I just need to put the right flywheel and clutch on it, and then I could take and drop that thing in, because I can also get the Vortec motor with accessories and stuff on it, so it can have the water pump. And I'm thinking that I only need a water pump and an alternator. I don't know if that thing had power steering or not. Let's take a look at my fancy. See, I even take a look at this. I even had this laminated. This is the build sheet for it. Tinted glass, axle ratio, 3-speed, L22, 250. I don't know if it came. I don't think it would have come with power steering. I'll have to go out and look under the hood. It's been a long time since I looked under there, which shows you that I should have been looking under there more often. Trans R3 Speedo frame. So we can figure that out, but this way I could, if I get it, and if I got a motor that had the full, accessory drive on it, the other option obviously would be to get an LS, and they could do that and make that work. But a small block will just go up there and bolt right in and be easy to do, and just get the thing running so that it works. That will be a good goal, and then I could, you got to do at least one or two burnouts with it and see what breaks, kind of thing. But at least it will be running. And before I do that, I've already sprayed it out with the hose and a nozzle, but now that I have a pressure washer, I can wash all the dirt and stuff out of it, because there's still a fair bit. And maybe it'll even take some of the rust off. But it would be nice, even as rough as it is, what I can do, or even as rough as it is, it would be nice that it runs. You can clean it off enough and stuff, and so that will be good. Because we're coming up, the other thing is we're coming up to 200,000 subscribers, which again, the reason that I'm doing this is to thank you guys. And not just for, like with Todd horse trading with me to get this Trail 90, which is awesome, but this kind of thing has happened a lot. I mean, when I first got the Nova, there was an outpouring of people saying, hey, this guy has a radiator and this guy has this, and they have all of this stuff, and people have stuff laying around and they're willing to provide it for different things. Amos sent the 8.1 engine. Freiberger has given me a couple of broken motors, but a couple of them that worked also, and that I did something too. So the Buick and the Slant 6 was given to me, and that 347 Pontiac, and so that's been like nothing but awesome. And this Trail 90 is kind of a perfect example of that. And so what I'm doing, I have which is something else that I would like to horse trade with somebody, is I have a 74 Yamaha DT125 that runs. If anybody's interested in that, let me know. If you've got something interesting that you want to trade, an engine or something automotive related or whatever, that would be good. Let me know, because it's really in nice shape. I mean, the paint on the tank and the seat and all that stuff is just like in perfect shape. So it's a really, when I remember getting that thing and picking it up, and while I was unloading it from my truck down at West Tech, I had a guy that followed me when he saw the back of the truck, offered to buy it. And then when I took it for my first ride just around the block, another guy stopped and asked if I would sell it. And I just got it that day. I was just bringing it back from buying it. And so obviously I was not interested in selling it, but it's really nice. So that would be good for somebody, because I never ride it. I used to do what I wanted to do with the Trail 90 with it, but it's the Trail 90 is going to be better for what I want to do. I want to hook up a bunch of lights to it so we can see at night and stuff, and it'll be kind of cool. So if somebody wants to do that, then if they're interested in that, let me know what you got, and if you got something cool, let's talk. The Nova, I think, to get it running will not be terribly difficult. I think if the couple things I'm concerned about with is what's going on in the fuel tank. I can put another fuel tank in it. I could put a fuel cell in it to just obviously get it running and make that work. That's not going to be a problem. It's a carbureted deal, so carbureted fuel pump would be easy. Although I don't think that I need to look now. I think that the block on the tune port motor, I think it has a fuel pump on it. I don't think that the Vortec one does. I don't think it has a provision for a mechanical fuel pump. Maybe it does. I'll have to look at that and see. But a mechanical fuel pump would be a lot easier. But I'll have to look and see what's going on with the tank. Maybe I'll just do a lift from the stock tank up into something else, something smaller, and then that way I can filter all of the stuff if there is debris and stuff in there. But I know that Ish from West Tech, he bought an old truck, an old C10, and he went through the same thing. The tank was rusty and stuff. So they did the chain and muriatic acid and shake it around and get all the stuff out, and so it took a little bit. But there are I think some fairly inexpensive replacement fuel tanks for that thing too. So I could just as easily get one of those. It has drum brakes on it, and I want to make sure that the thing stops. So we'll have to go through those. I might just do a disc brake upgrade on it in the front, which would be fairly easy. I have a new radiator for it, so that will be easy, and that will go in. I have a bunch of suspension stuff that somebody supplied, sway bars and things, and we can put those in. I've got bushings and everything. So there's a lot of cool things that can be done to the Nova to make it work. It's not going to make it any less rusty. That's a whole nother bigger job to do the floor pans and stuff. I can bolt the bench seat back down. I mean, the bucket seats back down. This thing was originally a bench. It was a bench with a floor shift, which is interesting. The back seats are still there. There are some of the interior pieces are still there that we pulled out. I pulled out all the carpet and stuff, threw it away because it was really, really bad. It's like the carpet was rusted through too, and that's not easy to do. But like I said, the goal is no matter what it looks like, just get it running so that it would run and drive and work and go down the street. So that's one of the goals for the thing. The other thing I need to start thinking about is a giveaway for the 200K giveaway, basically. So I'm thinking about maybe giving away the 4.8 liter that I'm currently putting together. It's like the channel. It's a little rough, at the beginning, but it's going to get better and better, and it's going to run and work. And as we know, since it's a 4.8, it's already going to be something with lots of potential. So with ring gap and springs and a cam and stuff, it has the makings of something really big. So let me know. You guys chime in and let me know what if that's the kind of thing that you want to see given away. The problem that I was thinking about with that is I can make that motor work and run and give it away as the 200K giveaway, but then only one guy wins. And there's a lot more guys that are part of this that deserve doing more of the stuff. So let me know what you guys think about the giveaway for that. An 8.1 Nova. Yeah, that would be good. I think it would twist this thing in half probably. But that's all good. And especially the 8.1 would be interesting because then I could put that Dart manifold on it and a carburetor and a distributor, and then it would just be a conventional big block basically, and would run, quite easily like that. But unfortunately, the 8.1 big block would not work with that, with that Saginaw 3-speed trans. It would have to take something else, a turbo 400 or something much bigger. Dan, don't forget the GM torque management to save the 3-speed and the 10-bolt. Actually, I'm not as worried about the 10-bolt as I would be about the trans with that transmission, because I think it would break the first thing that it sees, maybe. Although maybe the torque would. We just would never hook up, so I don't know if we could break the trans or the rear end without any traction. Just box the frame in. Yeah, you could do that. Liv, hey Richard, got any leads on LS2? Actually, when I picked up the 90, the Trail 90 today, the gentleman I picked it up from has an LS2, but he's building it, and I might be running it. But those are a little harder to find. I've never seen an aluminum other than the 5.3 that I got. I've never seen one of those in the yard, and obviously that 5.3 liter L33, that all aluminum 5.3 that I just got, is the first and only aluminum motor that I've seen in a wrecking yard. I don't even ever see any 6-liter iron block stuff, let alone LS2 stuff. Are you Liv? Are you trying to put that in the what do you have? Some sort of Pontiac or something? Dan, we put 500 plus horsepower in front of the Saginaws, and they took it like a champ. So do I need to not be worried about the 3-speed then? Vintage dashboards. I have an 84 Honda CB700 Nighthawk. Those are cool. A Nighthawk, yeah, so nice. And it's the best bike I've owned. Those are cool. I've had to rebuild the 10-bolt behind my tunnel ram 468 a couple times. That's probably, a 468 should make good power. Let's see. From what I understand, the Por 15, I have to take it down to the metal for proper application. It's going to be fun. Yeah. If you don't mind having only 3 gears. Well, if you have enough torque, the 3 gears are going to work fine. And this car originally came with a 308, so it'll be a freeway cruiser. It'll need that kind of gearing, especially if you put the 8.1 in there. Mike, I get it. My dad had the 354 and he bought me the first CL 350. I had my first motorcycle was a CL 100. And I loved it. I ran that thing for years and years and years, and it worked great. I used to do trails with it, climb hills, and just everything with it. L33 Gen 3 and LC9 Gen 4, the strongest aluminum blocks. They are good. You can make lots of power with them. Guys are out there doing it. Smitty, ooh, you have a 74 RD350. Nice. I rode on an RD400. A buddy of mine, Dave Nazarati, had one back in the day, and we got to ride around that thing a lot. It was a lot of fun. Yamaha are the birds and the bees. They're the bee's knees, man. Let's see. My 81 Scottsdale with the turbo 454 still has the 4-speed of the granny gear. Nice. So do you ever use first gear in that? Justin, you're going with a 416 stroker in your 86 short bed share. I like the short bed stuff. Ooh, an RD400 Daytona. Yeah, those were the fancy ones. I almost bought an RZ 350 before I bought my 500 Interceptor back in the day. And then the guy said, yeah, we could jet it. We could put pipe on it. And I'm like, yeah, or I could just buy the Interceptor and it's a lot more comfortable. And, and it's a Honda and it will last forever. 63 BSA Starfire 250, their first bike. Cool. A Suzuki SV 650 and a GSXR 600 front end. Wow. And then after the 500, I had a 600 Ninja and then a 750 GSXR, and that's as big as I went. I would like to drive a 1 liter bike or I've always wanted a Hayabusa, but it's probably too much bike for me. Climbing up the side of a hill or the side of a building. Yeah, lots of big block torque and lots of low gearing. That's good. Let's see how crunchy it is once I start sanding and go from there. Yeah, what would be interesting on the Nova is if I really did a lot of like nice prep work on the engine bay and had a really nice engine bay and then left the outside just the way that it is, so that when you lift the hood, it's all fancy under the hood, but all the rest of it is, I was even thinking about painting on, hand doing some Yanko stripes or that kind of thing, just for just over the rust, Greg, my 86 TPI out of a C3 had a fuel pump Boss, but the cam lobe was not hard and it ate itself in 100 miles. Okay, yeah, that's a problem. 82 Suzuki GS 1100E. Yep, those got good power. How do you stop yourself from engine creep? I can't help but I feel I should build a 416 stroker for the Tempest. Well, bigger is better, but you can always have a little motor and boost too, and it feels like a lot bigger motor, so that always works. I do like the Tempest though. That's kind of cool. The Mordor Nova. RD350 back in the day. Yep. The distressed look is in you. It's like the sliced jeans. An FJ 1300. Yep. Mission creep is a problem when restoring. A GPZ 750, especially the 750 turbos were kind of cool back in the day, back when they had the 900 Ninja and the GPC 550, even the one that kind of started all of that stuff, the whole cafe thing. They call it patina now. The Nova has an overabundance of patina. Yeah, not for sale. I know, Liv. I get people that, like I said, with the D2 125, the people were just all over it wanting to buy it. And when I was driving back with the Trail 90, same thing. I'm driving back and everyone's slowing on the freeway, looking at it, probably telling stories about the Trail 90 that they had back in the day and how cool it was. Nicholas, I think you should put a big block forward to the Nova just to watch people freak out. ZX14R, nice. That's just one better than the ZX13R. Anyone into bikes must check out the Barber Motorcycle Museum. I know my buddy Bernie was telling me about that. That's really pretty cool. I'm sure that don't they have a like a Vincent Black Shadow there? I know a guy that down in Southern California that built Trans Am cars and stuff, and he had one of those. And it was very, very cool. I offered him $1,500 for it, but he wouldn't take it. Ooh, a midnight special. That's kind of cool. He took the 90 cc's on the freeway. No, it was in the back of the truck. It was strapped down in the back of the truck. I didn't ride on the freeway. Although I did used to ride my CL100 on the freeway, and the DT120 or the DT100 that I had also used to ride on the freeway, but I put a different sprocket on it so I could get all that top end. Yeah, Vincent Black Shadows. The Barber Museum has one of everything. Yeah, they probably got cool stuff. Yeah, the nice thing about that's actually why I stopped riding, because I for a long time all I had was a motorcycle when I was going to college and stuff, and you know, it gets it's cold riding at night and during the winter and stuff. I rode my GSXR 750 from Southern California to Northern California for Christmas to visit my family for Christmas. That was a cold ride, especially after it starts raining on the way, and it's not good. And I talked my girlfriend into riding with me, which is just was made it even worse. What's a Volvo Volvette twin turbo LS Volvo wagon pulling on the Yamaha one at 190 miles an hour? Nice. That's pretty fast. You need a DKW, no reed valves. They have 1mm wide power band. Like the Kawasaki triples were like that. I remember after riding the RD400, I thought, this is really cool. It's got a little bit of a narrow power band. And then I rode a 9, I think it was a 900 triple, and it was kind of diabolical. Yeah, Vincent Black Shadow is like, that's real money. Yeah, because they had smaller triples too. Like, did they had 600s or 700s or something also back in the day? $750 triples. That's what they were. That's right. I've never had a turbo 2-stroke. What was the high-end Triumph 750 triple? The only Triumphs I know are the Bonnevilles. I remember my dad's 406 big block 67 Camaro. It was worse. Home with his face shield since it would rain from the roof of the burnout box. Are you going to LS Fest West in April? I don't know. I don't normally go out there, but maybe it would be good. I need an LS powered something other than my Silverado. I show up in that and it's like, eh. Yeah, I remember seeing 2-stroke nitro stuff. That was kind of cool. DT360. Or the one that I remember getting beat when I was riding my buddy's RD400 was a TT500. That thing was that thing had a lot of power. An 8.1 in a Boss Hoss bike. I remember doing stories on those. Guys used to put crate motors in them, big block crate motors. you seen Alan Miller's YouTube channel? He wheels up all kinds of things like V12 Kawasaki engines. That would be kind of cool. I think that they need to put two CBX motors together and just have it be ridiculously wide. Get yourself a Caprice. Boost the Silverado. It's bad enough that I just set it. I was like walking on eggshells, just setting the cam in the floorboard. if you saw the Instagram post that I did, I just set a cam, which that reminds me, I have to figure out, I have to look at the part numbers on the cam, the load numbers, and figure out what the cam is. It's definitely an LS cam, but it's some kind of small base circle because it's ground all the way down to the base circle. So I need to figure out what it is. I don't know what the cam specs are on it. It's a mystery cam right now. 12 cylinders wide, yeah, for the CBX 12, right? Oh yeah, we need a poll tonight, right? Okay, here, this will be good. Create a poll. Will the Nova run and drive by the end of April? How about that? And I'm going to clarify this, April 2022, just that I can't leave that off and say, hey, it's April 2023 and it's still working. So will the Nova run and drive under its own power? We'll put that under its own power, not to be towed, by the end of April 2022. So here we go. Let's see what people think about this. I still have a 77 KZ 1000 turbo. That's cool. The L6 had a reduced cam. This is not a factory cam. This is something that comp ground, I think. AM inspired you, but you're not AM good. Are the nobody connectors in reasonable shape? End of next month, no problem. Is there a maybe option? The electricals in the Nova are actually okay. I hooked a battery up because I did one of the videos that I did on the Nova was basically just checking and replacing the headlights and stuff and making sure that I replaced the headlight switch, and all of that seemed to work. That's really the only thing I checked. It did have lights, and it did have it had lights. It had a dome light, so it had that. So I think that the rest of the stuff is probably okay. All you need are lights, right? April's coming up. That's right. Really, the thing is going to not be, it's not going to be so much on me. I think if I went down there and worked 2 weeks straight on it, or even a week, probably maybe 2 weeks, and I had access to, I could take it down to West Tech and just stay there and work 12, 14, 18 hours a day, whatever on it. I think I could get it running in not too much time. As long as I did prep work, as long as the motor I knew was running, and then I had the parts that I needed, because there's always going to be stuff that you need that are not going to work. But if the engine is there, and I can even start it up and run it with no headers on it, but even stock exhaust manifolds and stuff would be easy to make work. Richard's not a wrench; he's a laptop. That's really far from being the truth. You should see what I look like when I'm at West Tech. Need to pick an engine for the Nova first. I did. It's definitely gonna be a small block. Did you watch the demonstration how he hammer formed the aluminum bodywork for an RC 374 replica? Nice. That if you can do French wheels and you can hammer form stuff, you're the bee's knees. If you had an engine in hand, I would say yes. The engine part of it, like getting an engine, there's already an engine there. So all I would need to do is put a flywheel on it, whatever the correct weight flywheel is for that, what I think is a tune port motor, and a clutch, and then that motor could go in. It's already running, so that's not a problem. Carburet LS and take it to LS Fest. That's another option, right? So the engine is not an issue at all. The aluminum 5.3 would be perfect for the Nova. I actually want to sell the aluminum 5.3. I'm trying to raise some money, so save it for gas. Saginaw isn't going to be any worse off than the stock for 4L60. The 4L60, I feel it would be worse than the Saginaw, because I think that guys use the Saginaws for a lot of roundy round stuff, and I definitely wouldn't use a 4L60 for that. Do pretty amazing in your normal day to day, so I'm gonna have to change my vote. Yeah, it's not from a lack of hours put in, that's for certain. It's just where to direct that, energy. Richard, let me know and help you get it running. I do everything. The engine stuff is kind of my bailiwick. It's my go-to stuff. So getting that working is not a problem. I wouldn't want to do, like, I don't like doing paint and body. That's not my thing. I know how to sand, and I guess I could paint. I don't think I've ever used a spray gun. I take that back. I have actually sprayed something with a spray gun. I didn't set any of it up, so that's not my thing. Interior panels, I've changed interior panels. I don't know if I've ever done a headliner, but all the bows are there for the headliner. So that's just taking it off and putting it on. So a lot of this stuff I could do. But the engine part of it is going to be the easiest thing. Anyone know how the drive shaft and transfer case on an 07 Silverado 1500 will hold up under 6 rounds of boost? That will be fine. The trans is what you're going to have to worry about, right? Put a 4-rotor in. We find those at the wrecking yard all the time. A French wheel or an English wheel? How about just a wheel of cheese? Put the 4.8 in the Nova with a little turbo and take it to LS Fest. So then I have to actually take it down the track. I'd be afraid of, like, dusting everybody with all of the rust. Saginaw will be fine until you get traction. Concave wooden buck and a couple hammers. Nice. Well, I mean, that's how they used to do it when they built Pete Brock's first Daytona coupe. That's how they built it. They built it with panels and bucks. So it's really pretty cool. Circle Track guys use the Saginaw 2 speeds. Okay, let's put a jet engine in it. We used a lot of Saginaws in the lower division Circle Track cars. Gas is in the mid to high $5 range, I think, where I am. 4200. The problem with the 4200 is that I have to have a whole EFI setup, and I want to use the MS3 Pro for a lot of other things, and not just on that motor in that car. We want to use it for tuning other things. The motorcycle on previews, what I clicked for, do you dabble in motorcycles? That's a Honda Trail 90. I've had a number of other motorcycles, which we've talked about many times, a 500 Interceptor, a 600 Ninja, a GSXR 750. I currently also have a DT 125. I've had a couple of DT 100s and a CL 100. So I've had my fair share of bikes. I had a 79 G28. The Saginaw lasted 2 weeks. That's not very long. Oh, so you painted before? This thing is not. I don't think that this thing is really paintable. I think it would have to have a lot of body panels replaced, or at least sections of the body panels replaced. But I appreciate the offer. I want to do something that would deserve that sort of input and that sort of work, and I don't know that this is that car. 3 pedals all the way. Headliners are not that hard. Oh, so you took out first gear in the Saginaw 3-speeds and made them 2 speeds? Because you probably only needed those ratios, right? 350, 500, 750, triple Kawasaki's. Okay. It'd be more like a farm Nova. Katie, you're a painter. Nice. The thing that I would really like help with in the paint department is the Omni. I want to restore the Omni back to its original paint job, and I'd be willing to trade or pay whatever I have to do. And I'd even be willing to do a lot of the work. I mean, I could do all the sanding and stuff as long as I have somebody there that knows what they're doing to, supervise. The Fox Mustang is still in great shape. Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't seen it for a few years, but it was in great shape when I last left it. The thing we're thinking about putting in a Nova is a small block Chevy for a 4.8 liter with a 4L80. I was gifted a 57 Thunderbird. That's kind of a cool deal. I'm pretty good painting with the spray can, but automotive stuff kind of needs to be done with a gun. And the painting, like everything else, is just it's prep. If the shooting the paint is not that difficult. And this thing would need a lot of stuff before it would need paint. Plastic dip it, I would. It needs to be dipped in acid. Except it would come back up and there would be nothing there. Earl Scheibit. Yeah, you could wrap it. I don't know that the wrap would even stick to what's there. I think what I should do is I should do Freiberger's the Comet or Ajax it and see how it turns out, Do a livery style wrap. Old Smoky is a fake sponsor. I could do what I'd do is the Gulf Wire Porsche. That would look cool. I'll help you if I ever get close to you. I'm in Washington. Yeah, that's a ways up. Flat black primer. It is kind of a rust colored, primer colored right now. Yeah, that is the nice thing, Dan, is that no matter what you do, it's not going to be worse than what it was before. So I really could only improve upon it. Red oxidized primer, denim blue jeans. Satin black, never flat. Yeah, there's a lot of things on the Omni that I want to paint, and some of that stuff was originally flat, but I don't want it to be flat. I want it to be shiny. On the 86 TPI, the oil pan was deeper than the older generation small block. I had to modify my cross member and my 71 K20 to fit. I wonder if I'd have to look and see what pan is on. Like if I got I'm thinking that a Vortec 350 is just going to drop right in, but it might not. The pan might not work. So how are we doing on our? Let's see. Are they? Oh, look at that, 60-40 on the yes. That it'll be running under its own power by the end of April. I appreciate the. I appreciate the support. What year's the Nova? The Nova's 72. Okay, swap the Z. What I want to put in the Z actually is the RB25 that I have. Put a number 3 on the side of it. Brian, what's your thought on the sloppy best cam versus a sloppy stage 2? I think we can ask or determine that between the various tests that I've run. The sloppy stage 2 is a bigger cam, so it's going to compare to the best cam kind of the way that cam compared to the Truck Norris. It's bigger and will make more power up top and less down low. Todd, thank you very much. I cruised around the streets in the Trail 90 today. Worked awesome. Will the Truck Norris cam improve an L96 6-liter that's otherwise stock and without a tune? If you put a cam in it, you will need to tune it because it makes enough of a difference in power that it will require a tune. Holdener Motorsports Complex. That's kind of what it's like. So the Trail 90 then would be my pit bike. Sponsored by the wrong cam. Center bolt valve covers in 87. Yes, Michael, that's what the poll is for tonight about Richard getting the Nova running by the end of April. The 86 convertible Corvette, that's right. In 86, the convertible had the aluminum heads. I had an 85 Corvette, and it was an iron-headed L98, but it ran really good. Yeah, the color of it is rust colored. The color of it could best be described as left in the field. What's your thoughts on the Summit LS Pro Stage 2 cam? I don't know what that is because they call so many different things, different names. I just would need to know the cam specs. I've run a couple of Summit Pro LS cams and they've worked well. And if that cam has comparable specs to something else that I've run, you can kind of guess what's going to happen. I don't know why California doesn't have 93 octane. I don't think it would be any more. Does it outgas more? Is that the problem? I don't know what the issue is. Don't they just clear over the rust? Will it stick to that rust? Well, maybe the rust has embedded itself in the metal, so it's actually part of the substrate now. Did you say you need front end work? Yeah, I'm just gonna put. I have new bushings for it, and I think I might actually. Somebody may have sent me control arms for it too, so I can put all that stuff in. There's not a lot of mechanical bolt-on stuff that I can't do to that car. The nice thing about West-Tech is Troy has a press set up because they've done some other bushings and things, I think, on Ish's truck. So that would make life a lot easier than trying to do it here at the house. Having a lift obviously makes things easy for hooking up an exhaust and things like that. I can weld up the exhaust with stuff that I have laying around. I might even have, I think I have one, maybe two complete exhausts that I had from Hooker that we did tests on that might be converted into Nova exhaust. Sniper Cross Ram versus Holley High Ram on a 6-liter. The Cross Ram is going to make a lot more low speed power, and the High Ram is going to make a lot more top end power. An Andy Warhol paint scheme, yeah, like the factory BMW teams, yep. Or the United Colors of Benetton. Dan is a very capable machinist and mechanic. Yeah, I get that if he's working for those high-end teams. I like when I see a $20,000 motor with a Walmart oil filter. Yeah, 87s would have been roller cams. Paint the Nova with rust encapsulator. Oh, poor 15. I'm thinking if I just slide hammer the plugs and the heads and put the steam pipes in and call it good. I think you can take those out and then you can have 4 of your steam ports and that will be fine. My 85 was definitely a flat tappet. Yep, if you've got a slide hammer, that works good. I mean, I'm sure that thing is just pressed in. Just if you screw it in, yank it out, it should come right out. Did you pick an engine for the Nova? Well, Liv's trying to talk me into putting an LS in it and take it to LS Fest, and an LS would kind of go in there, I think, without any problem. Probably as easy as a small block. It would be kind of cool content, I think, to put an LS in there and drive that thing out to LS Fest from. Although I don't, would it work? I mean, would it make it? I mean, Freiburger's going to in that Jeep. He's going all the way across the freaking continent, so I guess a trip out to Vegas wouldn't be the worst thing. I think putting an LS in there, even if I use the 3-speed Saginaw, I think all I would need is the right depth, right, for the clutch and the flywheel. So I just would need to space the flywheel correctly, right? Do you have the other stuff for the engine? I have a radiator and fan shroud and that stuff. I do have some of that stuff. All right, I think I have most of that stuff. I double dare you. You'd listen to Liv too. She knows wherever she speaks. LS3 build twin GT45 set versus the same with an intercooler. What's the power difference and air temperature difference? So you're going to run a twin turbo twin GT45 setup without an intercooler? That seems like a lot. I would run an intercooler, and the temperature difference can be dramatic. With an intercooler, it depends on the boost level that you run. It could be easily a couple hundred degrees. A friend of mine painted his MG with enamel in the wintertime with a brush. It was cold enough that the brush strokes laid flat. Yeah, if you let them sit long enough, they'll level out. Like when you make brownies, you pour it in there and it'll just everything kind of levels out. Holley oil pan headers, mount flywheel spacer. Oh, that's right. The oil pan and all that stuff is going to be different. Any chance you might do some 87 versus 91, 93? Yeah, we can do that. I don't think you'll see anything just from the change in octane, but yeah, you'll definitely see something from the change in octane and the required change in timing that you have to do. Get the 480 that's attached to the 6-liter out of the van. I don't want an electronic transmission. With 6 eagle rods with pistons. Which computer are you using? I wasn't going to use any computer. The one that we run on the engine dyno is a Holly HP, which is kind of why I want to run a carbureted version. I think even if I put an LS in there, it probably would be carbureted. Big fancy yachts are painted with brushes and paint. An 8.1 would definitely twist it over. Yeah, Bradley, octane only affects detonation. I want to do a story on that because there's a lot of misinformation out there about octane, and that will be a conversation we can have for another live feed. But a lot of people think that if you put higher octane in there, like let's say that you could run 91 and run full timing in it, and it makes the power that it makes because you run the timing up like we do on the engine dyno. And then I put 100 octane in there. You need to use a fuel that's not oxygenated, because you run an oxygenated fuel, you can change the power just because of the added oxygen. But if all you change is the octane, people think that the added octane slows the burn rate down and it changes the air fuel ratio and it does all these things, and it doesn't do that. And it doesn't have a big effect on power other than the oxygenated stuff that I was talking about. So we're going to I'll do a video on that. We'll do a test on that, and then we'll do a live feed on that so we can talk about that stuff too. Is the 3800 V6 you're going to do the big bang on the same as an 01 Buick LeSabre 96? Yeah, it would be. It's a 3800. Yeah. Sorry, turbo engine timing is what I meant on the fuel question. Any thoughts on the world small block that uses the LS heads? I've never run anything, and I haven't seen anybody run that, so I don't really have anything to say about it. I don't have any information on it. Have you ever done a fuel test with equal octane ratings with ethanol versus no ethanol? I don't think I have. Did Freiberger do an octane themed engine masters? I think that they did. I think that I remember talking to Brule about that. I thought that they did. They tested different fuels. LS with a carb, and you're setting up your golden. And I already have with the LS. I already have a carbureted intake. I already have the MSD controller for that. I have a carburetor. I have a small 600 or 650 or something, and that would work just fine. The guys from Holley already said that they would give me a bunch of stuff to do an LS swap into something like that. But again, I don't want to put, thousands of dollars worth of Holley swap stuff in a car that's worth hundreds of dollars because I don't think that the Nova could be made into something really nice, except for changing almost everything on it. Dan's done. He even has a chart for horsepower gain per percentage gain in the ethanol. Meth injection versus intercool. I've done that. Video is already up. I did water meth versus an intercooler test already. I do want to run methanol. I want to run methanol on something, some sort of turbo or blower kind of thing. It's going for the Snake Plissken look. Snake, I thought you were dead. So when is LS Fest West? Is that? Take a look and see. LS Fest West. It's April 22nd through the 24th. That'd be a little bit of work to get it done by then. Methanol will make you a believer. I think it's going to be a step up above E85. So I'm going to put meth injection on my turbo 305 so I can get some more out of it. Can you have too cold of a charge temperature? No, actually, if you look at the compressed air supercharger, that they did, their charge temperatures were below 0. So you don't have to worry about being too cold. Nice to know I'm not the only one considering LS carb setup. This carburation versus fuel injection thing is just silly, but they both obviously work. If you go serpentine, the fan and water pump run backwards. It obviously depends on how you route the belt, right? If I have an otherwise stock LQ4 and I swap on 706 heads and a medium cam 212, 218, would I be able to stick with 87 octane? If you put 706 heads on an LQ4, you're going to probably not run very well on 87. You're going to have to take a bunch of timing away from it. Nitro will wake it right up. Yeah. I want to do straight methanol because I've never run that. I was doing some helping run the dyno for Mahovitz when he was running one of his big modular deals that they ran on methanol. I think it was a supercharged 5.4 maybe. You know, so I don't know, it's like 14 or 1500 horsepower or whatever. And he was running that on methanol, and I'd like to, because I've never run one on, and I'd like to try it. How good is cylinder distribution on a single methanol nozzle? It's going to depend a lot on what intake you're blowing that into, and that's the problem we had with a lot of the LS stuff is the factory intake manifolds blowing liquid fuel or something through there. It doesn't get to all the cylinders equally. They'll run backward if the pulley is driven on the backside. That's not 100% true. If you have the backside of the belt on one side of the water pump, it'll spin the water pump one way with the crank still going the same way, right? Am I thinking about that right? Yeah. And then if you have the backside of the belt on the other side, grabbing the other side, you have to reroute the belt, obviously. Then it will spin the water pump the other way. Both of them on the backside. Carb on LS with a spider intake looks cool. I would run a mild combination with a dual plane on it probably. I'm not thinking blow through. I'm not thinking boosted. I'm not thinking any of those. I'm just thinking get it running with some kind of carbureted LS because I have that. I want to run it with that 3-speed Saginaw. I just want to get it running is the whole goal for this April thing. Now it's going into should I do an LS? You know, it would be the same kind of thing, I guess. I remember seeing your video on de-stroking an LS. Have you done it the other way, building an under square? I don't see much on it. Just curious. Are you talking about having a motor that has a lot more stroke than it has bore? We've done that. If you look at a good example of that is the 495-inch stroker that I did. It had a 4,185 bore and a 4,500 stroke, and it made a lot of power. Because it has a lot of displacement. The displacement is the first thing that makes the power. And then you can argue back and forth about bore and stroke after that. 4-inch stroke 4.8. That's just you're gonna make that into a 383 if you do an overbore on it too. Isn't the Matt's new engine a stroke 5.3? I think it is. I think he made a 383, or I don't know what he went to on the bore size, but so now I was all set on putting a small block Chevy in there. Then now I'm thinking LS. Have you done any testing on Texas speed cams? Yes, I have. I have run Texas speed cams in the past. I got more parts for my 318. Aaron, cool. Using a 4-inch crank, LS1 pistons, and 5.7 Hemi rods. That's a kind of a cool combination. What's the overboard to take an LY6 to 6.2 liters? Well, what the factory one would be a 4065, and that's what an LS3 would be. It would be that 6-liter crank with a 4065 bore. I was told not to go that far, but I kind of want to try it. Texas Speed, I think, has their own cam grinding equipment. I think that they do their own stuff. They used to get a lot of stuff from Comp. Now I think they bought their own stuff, and I think that they do their own grinds. I don't know who they get their cores from, but I think that they do their own grinding. Texas Speed versus BTR cams. Again, if you compare two cams that have similar specs, they're going to do similar things. Small block Chevy 383 can make lots of power. Yeah, all of the motors that displacements can make power. Are you planning on trying the Dart carb intake on the 8.1 on the dyno? Yeah, we'll run it with multiple configurations. I already have that intake manifold. What's a better fuel, ethanol or methanol? I don't know. I never tried straight methanol. Good news, Richard. Days are getting longer. So not just looking at it, you'll be able to work on it after work. Yeah, that's good. 8.1 in the Nova would be good. Not with that transmission, though. I wonder if LS Fest would let me into LS Fest with that 8.1, because then couldn't you argue that that's an LS? I mean, it has LS coil packs and an LS firing order. It has the LS trigger wheel. And noodles. There's no way the Nova will be driving with the Maribel powering it. Yes, you'd be leaving the 6-star. It would be good to have that, but that would take a lot of work. Saginaw 3-speeds don't like heavy flywheel clutch jumps. I'm not interested in doing that stuff with that transmission with whatever motor is in it. I just want it to run. Okay, guys. I was going to say 2 more minutes, but it can't even really be that. I got to close out the poll here. Look at that. We finished strong. We went up 5% in the yes column, thinking Richard is actually going to get something done. I like the enthusiasm. So now I can't let you down. I have to go down there and make it work. I have boxes of stuff that will go on there, and you know, there will be suspension stuff and things will work. It even has sway bars, so it'll handle, right, if I'm able to get a motor in there. I think, man, I need to figure out what I need to figure out how difficult it would be to make that thing work with an LS, how much work that would be, and how quickly I could get parts to do that. Because if I can, getting an LS together takes nothing. If I had to, I could just put the aluminum 5.3 in there. That would already work. It already has a cam in it. I could put a carburetor on it, and it would already work. But I need to figure out what front assembly, what dress assembly I would need on there. I really only need an alternator and a water pump to make that thing work. And then I need to know what oil pan to use on the LS to work in the Nova. And they probably already have that. So we're going to end the poll at 66-34, even better. Let's see. So yeah, that finished up good. 137 votes. I like that. put the Sprint turbo motor. that also needs to be running. So do you have any idea how sick and twisted it is? While I'm out driving or walking or whatever, what I'm trying to figure out is what is going to be my procedure for making the template for the Sprint motor to then transfer that over to see what bell housing I can use to mount the Sprint motor to a bell housing for the dyno so that I can run the Sprint motor on the dyno. That's how the mind works. That's crazy. Thank you guys all for showing up, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. The video will go up tomorrow on the 8.1 turbo, so you know that's the more torque sequel to part 1. Thanks, guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks again to Todd for the Trail 90. I'm really excited about getting that thing all registered and going out and sporting it around. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.